So there's a common notion in the world of hip-hop that certain artists serve as beacons of truth, cultivating a devoted fanbase that hangs on to their every word. However, beneath the surface lies a paradox. These famous quote-unquote truth speakers often mask a reality where their interests may not align with those of their worshippers, becoming something that we call a false idol, where authenticity clashes with ulterior motives. And the motive behind a lot of these celebrities and rappers who are in entertainment and start speaking the truth, they're oftentimes not driven by the same God or higher power that most of us look up to. There's oftentimes a lot going on behind the scenes with these industry people. And as fans, we deserve to know all the details so that we can go form a proper opinion. With all that said, you might be a little confused. Don't worry, it's your boy 10 Toes, and today we're going to be talking about XXXTentacion. To some, he's the greatest artist of this generation, and more than that, an idol and role model to so many people. And while I myself always believed that he was for the people and he was really speaking truths, after researching, there is a lot about X that is hidden from the public. Now, I love his music. If you think I'm making this video to bash X, then this channel's not for you. I'm doing nothing more than talking about my finds and discoveries, which is all public knowledge, as well as you all deserve to know the truth about these artists. And I am not saying this to hurt anybody's feelings, but somebody like X, who so many people looked up to as an idol, you should know the true reason why he even started talking about spirituality. Because it's not about X when he was preaching in his later years. It's about what happened to X when he was on his come up. And while yeah, his mugshot went viral, and of course he wasn't some saint, we knew that, he was kind of a bad kid growing up, I had no idea the true sinister activity he had going on behind the scenes. And when I learned, it was public knowledge that X was partaking in black magic, Aleister Crowley's teachings, satanic rituals with the person he stayed with when he was on his come up. We're gonna talk about all this, but when I found all of this out, it made me question everything about his career.
Your son had a great love for the occult, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Did he ever mention numerology, astrology, tarot to you?
He did, all the time.
How those conversations went?
It didn't go too well because I was in a Christian home, and it was just not something that I was interested in, so I was always dismissing.
Nicole, correct?
Correct. These are some of his books, just so you have an idea of where his mind was, and the things that he found interesting.
So he was definitely into the occult, numerology, astrology.
Everything. And there's more here. Magic of reading, and 40 laws of power, mythology, magic, everything.
Very nice.
That's why those raps are dope, right?
Yeah, that's why X and them were like insane kids, like doing screamo. Yeah, this is when X was like 17. He had like short hair. He didn't even have like the two like blonde. And I guess after he started living with these kids, they started doing like brujeria. Like, they started doing that shit. And like these are facts. Like Wi-Fi, funeral, and all these guys would say that. Even Juice WRLD would say that. He was like, yeah, like Bruno was doing like they were doing some weird shit. Even X. Yeah.
Crazy witch doctor.
Yeah, they were getting supposedly they got some of the girls and did like some weird shit, like
like they can
sacrifice, throwing blood. That's what I heard, and the girls started tripping out. Like the girls were like some weird shit. I believe in that stuff. I live in Miami.
Now to start, I want to talk to y'all like an older brother. And to understand a lot of what I'm going to say to you, you need to block out and disconnect from years of indoctrination. And understand that there is a lot our five senses can't detect. And just because you never seen it doesn't make it not real. So when I say that X was into black magic and witchcraft, rituals, things like this, there's going to be three types of people. There's going to be people who say it's demonic, there's going to be people who say it's not demonic, and there's going to be people who say it's not real. So I'm going to explain this to y'all in a way where everybody can understand. So let's start with one thing that all three groups can agree on. And that's that there's energy. In every situation you're in, it's inevitable that you're surrounded by positive and negative energy. Protons, neutrons, good and bad, light and dark. It's inevitable. Now, we can't see energy, but we feel it, so we know it's here. But where's it at exactly? Well, the answer to that would be understanding that there's a spirit world and we are in the third dimension. And when X was indulging in all of this activity, he was trying to reach other dimensions. He was trying to reach other realms. We call this the spirit world. And while some will deem this as demonic and some will not, the point is you are opening yourself up to good and bad entities. If you're a high vibrational person who is in touch with their self, you're stoic, you're present, you're grateful, then the energy around you is sacred. You have high vibrational energy. That's why when you meet somebody who's positive, you're like, damn, they got great energy. It's like we just all subconsciously know this already. People like that, they can meditate for hours, reach a state of bliss that barely anybody could achieve. However, if you're somebody who is low vibrational, you're operating from a place of shame and guilt. You might be dealing with substance abuse. You might be eating unhealthy. You're just not in alignment or connected to the source at all. then it'd be in your best interest to stay away from the spirit realm, because you aren't going to be able to handle what is truly surrounding you and the entities that are holding on and harvesting your energy. That's why people will say meditation can open you up to bad spirits, because if you're somebody who's naturally negative and you have a negative vibration to you, if you try to ascend beyond the 3rd dimension, all you got is negative demon entities around you. And when X was younger, still on his come up, 2016, 17, he was not living a lifestyle that followed God or this higher power spirituality that he was preaching. He actually would be living the complete opposite. You know, he went to prison, he was taking drugs, he was plugged in and attached to worldly possessions. He had nothing but negative energy around him. And with all of that going on in the spirit world, I wanted to look deep at what made this punk kid get involved in all of this black magic and ancient teachings. Well, with one of his close friends at the time, Ski Mask, claiming, and I quote, he would be like, I took LSD and talked to a spirit that's a demon. He gave me information about myself and how long I'm gonna live. He also said that he was gonna come after me. Ski Mask then proceeded to say he didn't like that shit at all. Ski Mask said this in the Hulu documentary, so obviously I can't play it, but he literally said this out his own mouth. This is factual. You don't say something like that if it's not true. And this showed me firsthand that X opened himself up to all of these negative entities through a substance. And I don't care what people say. I know, no, shrooms can enlighten you, nah, psychedelic. Listen, my advice to y'all would be there is nothing more powerful than a sober brain. We are supposed to be facing emotion head on and solving the problem rather than escaping. And while yeah, I do like that mushrooms are natural, as well as that tree, it doesn't take away from the fact that you're trying to escape. Even if you think, nah, I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna get awakenings and downloads and I'm gonna be smarter, trust me, you don't want to even get involved in any of that. You can up your vibration through meditation, and not only that, us men get our pleasure from hard work and progress. You don't make any profit or progression while on drugs, any drug, I don't care. And acid and LSD, man, if you're a negative energy person, like I said, that could mess you up for years. I don't want to tell too many personal stories, but I'll tell you right now, I know at least 3 people who, because acid and LSD, went into over 5-month psychosis, and they still aren't the same as they used to be. Most of the times people do it because they want to escape. Stop running from problems and take it head on. We are supposed to experience up and downs in this human experience. And listen, if you take DMT and all these drugs that literally take you out of this realm, you're trying to be above the human experience. But we are humans, so we aren't at all familiar with the spirit world. And like I said earlier, if you're surrounded by negative energy, then you aren't going to be able to handle what happens when you're exposed to it. And just like we seen with X, this man was involved with evil spirits that promised him the world and then took his life. X took this drug, claims he talked to a demon or whatever who said when he was gonna die. I'm sure he was told other things by this demon as well, like when he's gonna blow up, and it all happened. Now listen, X had this experience off LSD, and this welcomed him into the world of the occult. So when he moved in with his first manager, whose name was Bruno, and had a bathroom on his bedroom wall, there's a reason that there's so many different people and different witnesses who've shared their story about what they experienced at that house. There were unthinkable things going on in that house, and most importantly for X, welcoming him into the industry. When I say industry, I mean Masonic order that X proudly took a part in. The difference between X and a lot of these other rappers is they wanted to hide that they knew about all this. X was so open with it, but people back then didn't want to really critically think about it. Now X's entire career was a gift from the devil. It's not a coincidence that he predicted his death so many times. Not only did he buy white candles a day before his death that they used at his funeral, but he also would drop a music video just days after he passed, where he would be in a coffin looking over at himself. The entire video fighting with himself, representing the battle he's had on himself going through with this deal, as well as showing that the devil got his piece of the deal. When he started talking about spirituality and wanting to help us, this is X after realizing what it's like to play with the dark side, knowing that he's too deep in and what he's done is irreversible. And you could look at that and be like, oh my god, he's such a hero. Is he? To do what he had to do to blow up, it's crazy people will call him a role model and hold so much value to his words. Meanwhile, he plays for the team that we're fighting against. Y'all feel what I'm saying? A lot of these truth speakers who play for the team that we're fighting against, it's to make us think we have hope. Then we see the artist as some god and it's them versus the world, once again making us idolize and glorify something outside of ourselves. X was no different than all of these other rappers. Like I said, they just don't want to show that they're involved in the occult. But eventually their handlers or the people around them will wound them up at a photo shoot where they're showing one eye, and that's the people in power subtly telling you who's in control. And back to X, they did all of this in the house in Miami. Is it a coincidence he has a song that says talking to the devil in Miami or something? Like, come on, man. This is why I say we can't look up to nobody besides ourselves and God. I know X was young and didn't fully understand what he was doing, but I was 17. I might have been going a little crazy, but I wasn't talking to no satanic spirits. Come on, man. Oh, and they aren't satanic. I just broke down to you light and dark. I just broke down to you good and bad. So what a lot of y'all consider demonic, a lot of other people would just consider evil. And point is, X got involved with these evil spirits that led him into this industry that resulted in his fate. This entire world is full of lies, and while so many of us are overstimulated, constantly distracted, constantly getting filled with pleasure, there is a whole world internally. And following a path where you're putting your morals first, following God, not constantly comparing yourself, plugged into this chaotic world, then you will be the happiest you ever been. Everything about this industry is corrupt. They push a demonic lifestyle, they push quick money, they just farther you and farther you from yourself. As a man, we should be working hard, overcoming obstacles, showing love and respect to the people around us, and playing our part in society. But nope, this world has people tripping, thinking they should all be a millionaire by 20, show no real respect to people and get by, live a life online rather than in reality, and most importantly, look up to these people in entertainment who play part in the problem. Y'all gotta join the Discord if you don't agree with me on anything, man, we could chop it up. And also, if you're just messing with the content, join the Discord. Check the second channel out where we strictly talk about life. We ain't mention no celebrities. And yeah, man, I appreciate y'all giving me your time. Like I said, now that y'all know all this, you can form your true opinion. And also, shout out to The Truth Is for the information about Bruno. He dropped a video more specifically on that, so check that out too if you're interested in what really went down at that house and hearing some of the girl's perspective. Of course, this video, I was just answering if X is truly for the people, and the answer is no. The truth doesn't care about your feelings, man. That's just real. But y'all be cool, man. Y'all be smooth. And most importantly, man, be patient. I'll catch y'all.